Lewis Hamilton's 2025 title hopes just got smacked in the face with a brutal dose of reality. And the culprit behind this cold, hard truth bomb? None other than F1 expert Martin Brundle. As Hamilton gears up for his highly anticipated debut with Ferrari, expectations are soaring to the stratosphere. But hold on, because despite his legendary status, not a single F1 analyst is putting their money on him to win the World Championship this season. Yeah, you heard that right. Not a single one. Brundle, who's known for calling it exactly as he sees it, dropped a prediction that left fans slack-jawed. While he fully expects Hamilton to snag multiple race wins, he's not convinced the seven-time champ has the firepower to go all the way in 2025. Ouch. So, is this a brutal wake-up call for Ferrari? Have the prancing horses already been left in the dust by McLaren and Red Bull before the season even kicks off? Or is this just another case of the media sleeping on Hamilton's ability to flip the script and shock the world? We're about to break down exactly what Brundle said, why the F1 world is doubting Hamilton's title chances, and what this means for Ferrari's championship hopes in 2025. But before we dive into this juicy debate, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single twist in this explosive season. And, of course, let me know what you think in the comments. Is Brundle spot on, or is he talking out of his exhaust pipe? Stick around till the end because trust me, this is just the start of what might be one of the spiciest debates of the year. Let's get into it. Brundle, who has been following Hamilton's career since his rookie days at McLaren all the way through his record-breaking Mercedes dominance, recently dropped a bold take on the seven-time champ's Ferrari prospects. His statement? A mix of optimism and controversy. Brundle is convinced Hamilton will bag multiple victories with Ferrari in 2025, suggesting he actually has faith in the Scuderia. Yes, the Scuderia, not scooter year, autocorrect, chill, and their ability to build a competitive machine. But here's the kicker. Even though he's backing Hamilton to win races, he did not include him in the title fight conversation. When the Sky F1 expert panel was asked to predict the 2025 champion, Hamilton's name was missing. Like, completely gone. Vanished. Not even an honorable mention. So, does Brundle know something we don't? Or is this just another case of people doubting Lewis Hamilton, only for him to come back and prove them all wrong? Buckle up, because this debate is just getting started. If you were betting your last dollar on the 2025 F1 World Champion, the experts have made it pretty damn clear. Don't put it on Lewis Hamilton. The majority of analysts have pegged McLaren's Lando Norris as the frontrunner for the title, while Max Verstappen, yeah, the four-time reigning champ and all-around menace on the track, also received his fair share of nods. Even Charles Leclerc, Hamilton's new best friend, teammate, at Ferrari, was thrown into the mix as a potential contender. But when it came to Hamilton, crickets. Not a single expert saw him as a serious threat to the crown. Oof. This snub has set off a firestorm of debates across the F1 universe. Like, seriously, how does a seven-time champion, a guy who's rewritten the history books, suddenly become an afterthought in the title race? Is this a subtle way of saying Ferrari still isn't seen as a real championship contender? Or is Brundle just convinced that Hamilton is about to have a rough time settling into his new surroundings? The reality is, there are a ton of moving pieces at play here, and the first few races of the season are going to be absolutely crucial in determining whether Hamilton can shove those doubts right back down everyone's throats. One of the biggest obstacles standing between Hamilton and that eighth title? The absolutely insane level of competition in 2025. McLaren has stormed into the season looking like the team to beat after an electric preseason, and their brand new MCL39 is already turning heads as the most well-rounded machine on the grid. Both Norris and Oscar Piastri have shown blistering pace, and if McLaren's recent track record of car development is anything to go by, they're not just here to participate, they're here to dominate. Meanwhile, Red Bull, despite not being quite as terrifying as they were in past seasons, still has Max Verstappen. And let's be real, that dude could drag a lawnmower to the podium if he had to. The team may not have the outright dominance they enjoyed before, but Verstappen's ability to squeeze every last drop of performance out of a car makes them a constant threat. And then there's Mercedes, Hamilton's old stomping ground, who, after a few seasons of looking completely lost, have apparently finally figured out what the hell they were doing wrong. The reports suggest their 2025 challenger is a huge leap forward from the disaster that was the W15. Basically, the field is stacked, and with so many teams in the mix, the margin for error is razor thin. Ferrari can't afford to trip over themselves straight out of the gate, or they'll be fighting from behind all season long. But here's where things get even trickier. Ferrari's car development has been, well, let's just say unpredictable. The SF25 has shown flashes of brilliance in specific areas, but it remains a massive question mark heading into the first race. Sure, Ferrari has made significant improvements, particularly with aerodynamics and tire management, but consistency? That's still up in the air. Both Hamilton and Leclerc have reported that the car can be temperamental under certain conditions, with balance issues that need sorting out yesterday. The Ferrari engineers are working their asses off trying to fine-tune the SF25, but whether they've actually managed to close the gap to McLaren and Red Bull, that's still very much TBD. And let's not forget, Hamilton is stepping into an entirely different beast of an organization. After spending more than a decade in the ultra-polished, well-oiled machine that is Mercedes, he now finds himself in Ferrari's world. And if there's one thing we all know about Ferrari, it's that they do things very differently. Mercedes was built on structure, efficiency, and long-term planning. Ferrari, more emotion, more reactionary decisions, and sometimes pure chaos. So, can Hamilton adapt to the madness? Can Ferrari finally get their shit together and give him the tools he needs to fight for title number 8? Or are we looking at a season where Hamilton spends more time fighting his own car than fighting for podiums? One thing's for sure, this is going to be one hell of a ride. Ferrari's unrelenting passion for racing has been both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, it's fueled some of the most legendary moments in F1 history. On the other, it's been responsible for some of the most bats-hit race strategies the sport has ever seen. Their decision-making has, at times, been as unpredictable as the weather at Spa, especially when it comes to race execution. Now, Hamilton has had nothing but good things to say about his early days with a prancing horse, showering praise on the team's dedication and relentless work ethic. But let's be real, transitioning into an entirely new racing philosophy is no walk in the park, even for a 7-time world champion. Learning Ferrari's way of doing things, which often involves a fair share of drama and overreactions, is going to take time. One of the juiciest storylines of the season is undoubtedly the Hamilton versus Leclerc dynamic. For years, Charles Leclerc has been Ferrari's golden boy, the driver around whom they've tried, and often failed, to build their championship ambitions. His raw speed, especially in qualifying, makes him one of the most electrifying talents on the grid. But let's be honest, race management and consistency? Not exactly his strong suits. And guess who does excel in those areas? That's right, Lewis freaking Hamilton. Now, throw a 7-time world champion into the mix, and you've got the perfect recipe for some serious tension. Even though Ferrari has been preaching the whole equal opportunities for both drivers mantra, history tells us that internal team battles rarely stay friendly for long. If Hamilton starts outpacing Leclerc right out of the gate, how will Ferrari handle the inevitable clash? Will they lean on Hamilton's experience and championship pedigree, or will they stay loyal to the guy who's been bleeding Ferrari red for years? And that's not even the biggest headache Ferrari has to deal with. Because, let's be honest, we have to talk about their spectacularly terrible strategic calls. Even in seasons when they've had a genuinely competitive car, their pit wall has often functioned like a bunch of headless chickens. Boneheaded decisions have cost them wins, podiums, and, let's be real, probably Leclerc's sanity at this point. This is where Hamilton's insane race awareness and razor-sharp strategic instincts come into play. He's one of the best in the business at reading a race and making the right calls on the fly. So, here's the million-dollar question. Will Ferrari actually listen to him? Will they trust his instincts and give him the freedom to make critical race day decisions? Or will they stubbornly stick to their tried and tested, aka, frequently disastrous, methods? If Ferrari really wants to go toe-to-toe for the championship, they cannot afford to keep tripping over their own damn feet. They have a chance to break the cycle of strategic blunders, but only if they're willing to adapt. And that brings us back to BRUNDLE'S comments. He isn't doubting Hamilton's skill. Far from it. What he's really questioning is whether Ferrari can actually give him the car and the competent race strategy he needs to fight for the title. And, honestly, given Ferrari's track record, we can't exactly blame him. So, will this be the year Ferrari finally pulls their shit together? Or is Hamilton about to learn the hard way why so many talented drivers have come this close to glory with Ferrari, only to have it all fall apart? Buckle up, because this season is going to be one hell of a ride. Let's get one thing straight. Lewis Hamilton isn't just one of the greatest drivers in Formula One history. He's the guy who has redefined what it means to dominate this sport. But here's the kicker. Formula One isn't just a solo act. You could be the most talented driver to ever grace the grid, but if your car is a piece of junk or your team keeps tripping over their own damn feet, you're not winning shit. Success in F1 is a three-headed beast. It takes a fast, reliable car, a team that actually knows what the hell they're doing, and a championship battle that doesn't completely screw you over with bad luck, questionable strategies, or the occasional Verstappen masterclass. If Ferrari can hand Hamilton a machine that can consistently fight at the front, then yeah, he's absolutely in the mix. But if the SF25 turns out to be yet another beautifully painted, underwhelming diva of a car, wouldn't be the first time, then not even Hamilton's magic behind the wheel will be enough to drag it to glory. And here's the real kicker. 2025 is shaping up to be one of the most unpredictable and cutthroat seasons in recent memory. We're talking McLaren, Red Bull, Mercedes, and Ferrari all throwing punches at the front. That's 4 teams in the mix, meaning there's absolutely zero room for mistakes. If you thought past seasons were intense, buckle the hell up. This one is going to be an all-out war. Hamilton's journey with Ferrari is just getting started, and those opening rounds are going to tell us everything we need to know. Is he about to mount a serious title challenge? Or is this going to be one of those seasons where he picks up a few wins but never really sniffs the championship? One thing's for sure, Hamilton has never been the type to back down from a fight. He didn't leave Mercedes just to exist at Ferrari. He came to win. And he's going to throw everything he's got into making this move work. With the season opener in Melbourne creeping closer, all eyes are on Ferrari. Have they actually taken that much-needed step forward? Or are we about to witness another season of glorious failure filled with strategy disasters, mid-race meltdowns, and pit crew decisions that make you question reality? Can Hamilton defy the skeptics and make a run at the title? Or will BRUNDLE'S prediction prove to be painfully accurate, with Hamilton picking up a few victories but ultimately falling short of the big prize? We won't have to wait long for answers. The first chapter of this wild story is about to be written. One thing we know for sure: Formula One is the ultimate theater of unpredictability. Nothing is certain until those damn lights go out and the racing begins. Between the Hamilton-Ferrari dynamic, the SF25's true potential, and the absolute arms race between McLaren and Red Bull, this season has all the makings of an instant classic. Title contender or not, Hamilton's switch to Ferrari has already shaken up the entire landscape of F1. His journey with the Scuderia is just beginning, and however this plays out, it's going to be one hell of a ride.